All right, section 1.6, we're going to be going over equations involving absolute value. So when you see absolute value, it's just two vertical bars. So absolute value these two vertical bars, and all they tell you is the distance from zero. Supposed to be an R from zero. So it ignores the sign. So if I had a number line, and I'm going to use the number that they give us here, well, I can't do that. I'm going to use 7. So say this is 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the negative direction. So both numbers, -7 and 7, are 7 units from 0. So what the absolute value does, that's all it does, is tell you the distance from 0, or in other words, we just say it changes a negative number positive. So the absolute value of -7 is just equal to +7, and the absolute value of +7 is still 7. That's the distance from 0, how many units it is away. So that's all absolute value is doing. And so we're going to evaluate this first problem. So we have the absolute value of -71. Let me make this one look different than this vertical bar. And so that just gives us +71. Okay, so this is 71 units away from 0. That's all that this first problem wants us to do. All right, number 2, we want to know which of these is correct. So the absolute value of x is greater than 7. Now this is a little bit different when we have inequalities involved with absolute value. All right, so this is what we're looking at. Absolute value of x is greater than 7. So recall just from the previous, absolute value will change a negative, positive, and a positive will stay. So the first time we're going to keep this the same, and we're going to have to do this twice. So we have to do it for negative and the positive. So the way we solve this is when you keep it positive, you don't change anything. We just say x is greater than 7. So that's the case that if it had been positive. Like if it's positive, nothing changed. If it's negative, because x could be negative and absolute value would just change it to positive, then we're looking at this. We say x and we compare it to -7, because that could have been positive or negative. When you change this sign, you have to flip this sign as well. So you got to remember that anytime you change a sign dealing with inequalities, you also flip that inequality. So these are the two scenarios we're looking at. X is greater than +7, or x is actually less than -7. That's what you have to do. That's how this translates from absolute value inequality. So the one that matches, so we have this or this. Okay. Whenever you have greater than, we're going to do or. Okay. That is also important to notice because you have and you have or, so there's a difference. Whenever you have, let's just say absolute value x, let's just say it's less than a, for example, it could be any number, you would do and we would have a different scenario. But we'll see that a little bit later. For this case, we're going to be using or, because it either is going to be bigger than 7 or less than -7. Those are two different things. So or x is greater than -7, we have x is less than -7. So it looks like it has to be C. That's the one that's going to match.